Hello everybody and welcome back to another Marvel Crisis Protocol roster building video. It's been a little bit since we've done one of these. Honestly, just wasn't really being inspired by too many different list ideas, but I figured I'm going to try kicking this series back up because it was something that you guys seem to enjoy for the most part. So yeah, we're gonna bring it back, and we're starting out with one that's a little bit of a throwback to one of the first lists we ever did in the series, and actually the most popular video in the series, which was an aggressive Web Warriors roster that we made way back, back when, Thanos was the Titan that he was, and that was kind of what the list centered around. It was building like a Webs with Thanos roster, which was really interesting at the time because, Webs really had one playstyle. It was all they could kind of do, and now Webs as a faction have evolved into this much more varied faction. They have a lot more options available to them, including a brand new leadership and a bunch of more models that can kind of play a very different game plan. So I'm really excited to jump into this and try building a Webs roster that, isn't splashing in Thanos to make themselves capable of doing something other than run away with objectives. So I'm going to be kind of leaning towards a more skirmishy, kind of hit and run style Web Warriors list. It's going to be similar to what I've been playing lately at my locals and been having a lot of fun with. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and start by actually just looking at which Web Warrior characters we actually want to include in here. So we're going to filter to only Web Warriors here. And man, they have a lot of models now. So we have choices. Now, first things first, Miles Morales. We're going to be including both Miles in this roster here. We have the original one here. He is going to be kind of our backup leader if we get stuck in a situation where we're playing maybe against another very objective focused team and we need to kind of play that same game, the way scenario rolls out or something like that, then we can switch over to this version of Miles. We can switch to their classic leadership and we can play a very classic Webs game plan, because I think it's very possible to build a Web Warriors roster that can do both now. But we are, of course, also going to be including Ultimate Miles Morales. I absolutely love this model. He's got amazing control with web up. He's got great mobility with the web swing, and of course being a long mover, and his defenses are quite solid as well. You did you, now I'm gonna do my thing is fantastic. I love this Miles. This is probably one of my favorite models they've released in a long time. So Miles absolutely being included in this roster. Next up, well, we have to include Gwen. Whether you're playing Webs Fighty or you're playing them, very kind of runaway style, Gwen is just an auto-include. She's a long mover. With the new leadership, she feels fantastic if she gets that skull, being able to potentially attack the same target and then long move. Feels really good. So yeah, she's an auto-include here, but that in mind, we are trying to play a more aggressive style list here, and if there comes a time where we really are just looking at kind of a big brawl in the middle of the board, maybe we're playing like Meteors or something like that, that's where I think Gwenum potentially becomes really interesting and powerful, especially with the new leadership. She has the same kind of benefits that OG Gwen has there. So I'm going to be including both of them in the list, and yeah, doubling up on the same characters is definitely a little risky, but I think Webs have enough versatility in their list building now that we can totally get away with it. Next, we're going to be looking at 5 threats. We definitely want to have a couple of those, and we're not going to be splashing Namor into this list, partially because that's boring, and partially because we have our own safe grab in affiliation, that being Amazing Spider-Man. And yeah, I love Amazing Spider-Man for this. He increases the defenses of everyone with witty banter. He can hit reasonably hard himself. And one thing that I absolutely love about Peter under the new leadership is you roll a crit, you get power, you're happy. You roll a skull, you get the place, you're happy. You roll the crit wild, you've got your momentum. Of course, there's always the possibility of doing damage. Every time this model rolls dice, and with rerolls on his defenses even more so, he's going to get something that he wants out of it. And it feels really good to play that kind of model. So Amazing Spider-Man absolutely coming in here. And alongside him, we're going to be including 2099. He's probably the best attrition piece in their affiliation. He hits pretty hard. He's got, 6 dicers on his basic builder there. He's got a really solid spender. He's got great movement. He's got great defensive tech. Everything he's got going for him is really good. We are doubling up on 5s, but honestly, I think it's fine. I've totally run a few times now at 17 threat, just Gwen, Ultimate Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, and 2099. That's a 17 threat squad that feels really good. So yeah, I double 5 threat in Webs is definitely something I'm a fan of. Going along with that more aggressive Web Warriors playstyle, I'm definitely a fan of Agent Venom here. We do have to be careful. It's really tempting to say Gwenom, Agent Venom, and Venom all want to be in this list because they are all very attrition-focused models, but we are giving ourselves that huge weakness on the energy defense. We do have to keep that in mind, but I think Agent Venom's worth it. I mean, he's got the longer range attacks, which are definitely appreciated. A lot of our long range attacks don't hit all that hard, so having that kind of 5 dicer with the condition, with the anti mods there, definitely feels nice to have. And he's still got that mobility. He's got the free shakes. So we just got to be somewhat careful. And I think by including Agent Venom, I'm probably not going to be including Original Venom, as sad as it makes me. I do love Original Venom. But I think putting all three of them in the same list where we're already doubling up on some of our other characters is just putting it a little bit too restrictive. So we're going to avoid that for now. The next character I want to include is Scarlet Spider. I really like Scarlet Spider, partially just because I really like Web Whip. I think the mobility combined with the control is really, really fun to play around. It's part of why I enjoy some of these new characters so much, notably 2099. And, we've also got Miles with that trigger on his basic attack there. It just feels really, really good. I think it's a fantastic ability, and Scarlet Spider is also throwing some extra attrition out there. He's got a character throw in there. He hits reasonably hard. He's got a solid spender. So yeah, I think Scarlet Spider is just a nice little, we need a 4 threat that can kind of do attrition, doesn't have the energy weakness. He's our slot in for that. All right, for our next 2 slots, I think there's a couple ways you can go about it. For my list that I've been running, I've been throwing Black Cat in here just in case I need to pivot to that more kind of typical objectives-focused Web Warriors list. And Black Cat's really good for that. Or if I'm going against a Kaiju, having access to that stagger on a stick feels really, really good. So yeah, I think I've been running Felicia a lot as kind of my pivot piece here. But alternatively, if you really want to lean into attrition, you don't want to play that kind of classic Webs gameplay, I think you still keep all these other models on the list, but instead of Cat, you look at either a Splash or something like Spider-Man Noir. Spider-Man Noir is a really, really interesting model in the sense that of all the Webs, he definitely is lacking in the movement department. He doesn't have the kind of mobility that the rest of them have. However, that beam 4 on an all-webbed upturn is going to hit like an absolute truck. And yeah, that's going to be real, real good. So things to consider with him there. He's definitely an interesting one. I'm not sure how I feel about it. He's also obviously got the damage reduction, but then you get into the splash options, and I'm partial to Luke Cage. I like having bodyguards and things like that, so I like Luke Cage with my Web Warriors. Other good options include stuff like Baron Zemo, really, really good 3 threats. I'm definitely thinking your kind of first splash slot here is going to be a 3 threat if you're going in that direction. We already have plenty of 4s and 5s in this roster, so personally, I'm usually leaning towards Black Cat because we're specifically going for attrition in this video. I think I'm going to put Noir in here, but honestly, I think the real answer, if you're going for an all-out attrition play, is probably Zemo. He just feels really good pretty much anywhere, but here especially. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and put Noir in here just because, new model cool, and we'll keep it in affiliation. And then finally, we're on to our 10th and final roster slot. And here's where I like to put in a 2-threat just to kind of have some kind of options there. Now, Spider-Ham, obviously being the new Web Warriors 2-threat, is a very solid option for it. And he's interesting. I still don't know how I feel about Spider-Ham. He's got some really good abilities on him. Damage reduction means that 3 health is pretty solid. Having the ability to push size 3 characters as a 2-threat is fantastic. No notes. I mean, potentially pushing himself is sometimes going to be good, but yeah, that's a really good ability. The downside is fine for a 2-threat. He hits okay for a 2-threat. His spender is pretty solid. The off chance you get his triggers, his builder, or his gainer rather, is quite good. Pie in your eye, sure, let's throw out some shocks. He is just a good model. Personally, in Web Warriors, I'm partial to Wong. I like putting my web swings online turn 1, especially if I am playing for a more aggressive play. Having the option to kind of run around and do things like that feels really, really good. But I don't think you'd be wrong for including Spider-Ham. I think Spider-Ham's perfectly good. A little bit RNG heavy, but I mean, you're playing an attrition list, so you're kind of going for an RNG heavy game. So yeah, I'm going to put Wong in here because that's definitely what I would be doing. But I think Spider-Ham's a perfectly reasonable alternative. So there we go. We're going to go ahead and put Wong in there. And honestly, I am going to switch out Noir for Mr. Zemo here, just because I think that is a version of the list I am more likely to run. I like what they were going with Noir, but I just feel like he's a little bit too slow for me. And a list like this, where we're going to be really playing those hit and run tactics, something like Zemo fits into that perfectly. So I think we're going to go that direction instead. All right, so going into tactics cards, first things first, we're playing Web Warriors, we're playing them punchy. We are definitely including all webbed up in this list. It's kind of a no-brainer. It needs to be there. So yeah, that's a thing. Next we have Brief Reprieve here. This one of the newer cards as well. And yeah, I'm a big fan of this one. I think being able to just say I'm going to get rid of a bunch of my special conditions and or damage feels really, really good. It's no cost if you've already activated the models that are using it. The biggest downside to it is that Miles needs to be able to spend for it, and that's fine. I think this is a great card, so we're definitely going to be including it. Going for a more attrition-y play, I also like the idea of great power here, being able to say, you know what, actually, 2099, he's going to pay a little bit extra power, or he's going to take a little bit of damage instead of paying power to buff up one of his attacks. Yeah, I think that just makes sense for a list like this. So, do I think that card overall is all that great? I'm kind of iffy on it, but I definitely think for a list like this, it makes a lot of sense. Next, we're going to include the Spider Tracker card here. This card is just really, really good. I mean, stopping charges dead in their tracks feels really, really good. So, yeah, we're going to include that. It's more of a defensive card, but like I said, we're kind of playing hit and run. We're not all out aggressive. So, I definitely like Spider Tracker here. And of course, what would we be doing without our leadership card that we're going to be playing most of the time, that being Web of the Spider-Verse? This card is fantastic. I absolutely love this leadership. So yeah, we're going to be including it. It's what we're playing most of the time. It's fantastic. And then we're also going to be including the Spider-Man card, because I think Amazing Spider-Man is going to be hitting the list probably most games. So combining him with either of the Miles, honestly, is really, really good. 2 power to make a free attack is pretty solid, especially since they both have some really, really solid attacks. So yeah, I'm definitely thinking this is worth it. It also gives you some mobility. You can get them back on points, get them wherever you need them to be. All of it just feels really, really good and super thematic. I love playing those two characters together. So yeah. Now we get into some interesting picks, because we only have 4 slots left and we already have a lot of webbed and or character cards. And I'm looking at Masked Menace and I'm kind of like, you know what, the power on that would be really, really nice. We're going to be doing damage for sure. We're going to be trying to do that as often as we can. So that feels really, really good, but I'm not sure how often we're actually bringing it over all of these other webbed or character cards. So I think for now, I'm going to kind of put it on the back burner and say maybe we'll include it if we don't know what to do with our like 9th or 10th slot. But I think it's kind of probably sitting in that like 11th or 12th slot realistically in this list. So we're going to leave it on the table for now, and instead we're going to start looking at some of the other options we have available to us. Notably, I'm a Baron after all. This is almost stapled to Zemo, so we're definitely going to be including that. Giving him that turn 1 charge feels really, really good. Or if you don't end up using it turn 1, having the ability in a later round to kind of use it to heal him up or give him enough power to do things he needs to do feels really, really good. So we're going to be throwing that in there as well. We do also want to bring in some restricted cards here. So I think the first one that I really like with Web Warriors, we didn't include any bodyguard characters, is Sacrifice. I like the idea of being able to have that little bit of insurance policy when I need it. And then of course Brace for Impact. Yeah, we have rerolls on dodges for the most part across the board, but it's still going to be one of those things where when that size 4 comes at you and you're on like 3 health, you don't want to take that chance. You need to be able to brace it. So yeah, we're definitely going to include that. And that leaves us with exactly 1 slot left. So this is where I kind of come back to Masked Menace, and I'm like, is Masked Menace going to be chosen over something like Recalibration Matrix, even Aunt May's Wheat Cakes, or Survival? These are all cards that I'm really thinking about, and in an attrition list like this, I think something like Survival is really, really valuable. Being able to say, no, you're not touching this model, he's going to have a fantastic activation and you are not going to stop it, feels really, really good. So I'm going to lean towards Survival as the 10th card in this roster and our only generic card outside of our restricteds. And then, you know, we're going to be running Web of the Spider-Verse most games, Spider Tracker most games, all webbed up most games. So we're really going to be playing a little tight with those free slots anyways. So yeah, I think that's kind of where we're going to leave off with our 10 cards. Now we move into Crises, and this is probably going to be the most controversial part of this, because, you know, being a webs list, people are probably used to seeing, oh, it's webs, you take all the D shapes, and I'm not going to put one of them in here. Well, I might put hammers in here, but I'm not going to put one of the D-shaped secures in here because no, that's not the point of this list. We are violent. So it's going to be a good time. So we're going to start with the extracts, and I do think I'm going to include hammers. I mean, we have a safe grab, which is good for that, especially since there's going to be one on each side, so we can set up, the opposite side of their safe grab, because if it's our extracts, they probably won priority, so they're going to get one, we're going to get the other. That works out. From there, we have interesting choices. I don't want to pick Montesi because A, mystic attacks are bad for us still for the most part, and B, they have a safe grab, we don't, so we want to kind of avoid things like that where we're going to be clearly kind of in the lower hand. I do like Unexpected Guests Crash Royal Wedding. I like this a lot for attrition teams, especially the kind of attrition that we're going to be playing. We have tons of mobility, so we're not going to be affected by the downside too often. Again, we're losing prio, so we're not really feeling too bad about it on something like this. So I think Unexpected Guest is going to be my next one, and I've already mentioned I really like 17 threat version of this list. So yeah, I definitely like the Unexpected Guests for webs now. From here is where it gets a little interesting. Struggle for the cube could be neat. With the extra power would certainly be nice. We have a little bit of healing across our team, so we can kind of make up for at least some of the early game cube damage, which would feel pretty good. We also do have the hitting power to drop cubes, which also feels pretty good. So that is definitely a direction we could go. Another one, as much as I hate to admit it because I really don't like playing Skrulls, is Skrulls. We're pretty good at it. We have a couple long movers in the list that can easily safe grab this back one. And then the side ones, of course, we have Amazing Spider-Man for that. So we have the tools to play a really good Skrulls game, but I have like a personal vendetta against Skrulls, so we're not going to be including it, but honestly, that's probably the answer. Other options include stuff like Alien Ship is probably fine. I'm hesitant on Terrigen Canisters because we like our mobility, but also we have Web Slings, so we don't care too much. So that one's kind of an awkward, interesting one. Advanced weaponry could be fine. I don't think we care too much about taking the damage. It puts tons of points in the middle, so lots of violence could go around. I'm going to lean towards cubes, just because I really like cubes, and like I said, I like 17 with this list. But honestly, I think the proper answer is Skrulls if you're building this at home and you don't have the vendetta against Skrulls that I do. Going into secures is really fun for a list like this. It's going down to the kind of the secures that I've been playing for most of my lists right now. I love Infinity Formula for this. Webs love power, at least this type of webs do. And yeah, this feels really, really good. You're going to be playing those hit and run games. You're going to be always on your points. You're going to have great ways of yanking your opponents off of their points. So you're going to be denying them that extra power at every corner. You're going to be making sure you get it all the time, especially with those skulls. It's really, really hard to push a model off a point if they have a chance to just bump themselves back onto it. So yeah, Infinity Formula feels fantastic with webs right now. I've been really, really enjoying it. From there, we kind of have a couple different directions we could go. We could go into that kind of classic webs game, superpowered scoundrels. We get that cover on all the points. We're really, really good at getting onto those points. We can ignore cover, more secure points. Same idea with Infinity Formula. We're going to be great at staying on those points ourselves, great at pulling our opponents off. Feels really, really good. So I definitely like Scoundrels. Other options include Guardian Save Shi'ar Empress if we want to play that more kind of mobility game. We want to be able to switch between their points and our points, flip their points, run back home sort of deal. I also really like that option. We're going to be holding extracts, so we have great flips there, so that also feels really, really good. We have other options in Kron, same idea. We're going to get that extra power, same as Infinity Formula. We're going to be able to play that kind of hit and run, flip the points game. All of those feel really good. We can go all out attrition. We can say Deadly Meteors. We want to just punch things real, real hard, playing what's the closest thing we have to an E-shape in the game right now. I don't think we quite have the durability to play something like Fisk or what's the other one? Is it Wedding Party? Yeah, I think it's Wedding Party's the other one. Yeah, we don't quite have the durability for those, so I'm not going to pick those, but I think we have a lot of options here. For myself, I'm personally leaning towards, I really like the idea of Scoundrels here. There is some downsides to it. I mean, we are going to be giving them cover against a lot of our like range 4 attacks, some models that want to sit back a little bit, but I think it's interesting. And then Mcron is the other one that I like. I really like that ability to kind of say, hey, We're gonna play the exact same game we're gonna play on Infinity Formula, but we're also gonna flip your point while we're at it because we feel like being rude. Um, the biggest thing that I might change in this, like the more I play it, is I might switch superpowered over to Guardian Save Shi'ar, but I really like these two for sure. And then yeah, I think it's between Scoundrels and Shi'ar Empress for me on the third secure there. But this one, honestly, it's kind of hard to go wrong. I think you can go a lot of different ways now with webs and get away with it. And that's going to do it for our new webs roster. So yeah, I'm really excited about webs these days. Let's break down what we got here. So we got both of the Miles Morales Spider-Mans here. We have both of the Gwen Stacy's as well. We got Ghost Spider and Gwenom. We have the Amazing Spider-Man Peter Parker here. We got 2099, we got Agent Venom, Scarlet Spider, and then our splash options include Baron Zemo and Wong. A little bit of extra hit and run with Zemo, some extra dice fixing there as well, and then Wong just to keep our power and our health topped up. I mentioned this a little bit, I like having the web swings early game, but then as the game goes on, I find the healing is really nice, especially on some of the more obnoxious models like Amazing Spider-Man. Being able to heal him back up feels really good, so definitely a fan of Wong in a roster like this. Going down to tactics cards, we got our affiliated cards. We have all webbed up, Brief Reprieve, Spider Tracker, Web of the Spider-Verse, of course, our leadership, and a couple Web Warrior character cards. We got Great Power for 2099 and Spider-Men for Miles and Peter. And then we also have I Am a Baron After All for our unaffiliated character cards. Going into restricted, we have Sacrifice and Brace. Brace is going to be probably pretty much an every game piece, whereas Sacrifice is going to be one of those ones where, I had a free slot for my fifth card. And in a similar boat to Sacrifice, we're also going to be looking at Survival. Survival is probably going to be mostly played when we're playing against taller teams, and probably going over Sacrifice in those sorts of situations. So it's going to be a little bit of an interesting situation to see how often Survival actually gets played there. But yeah, I definitely like this list of tactics cards. I feel like the web's tactics are going to there's probably going to be like 3 or 4 of these cards that almost never hit the table, but I think that's more of a statement on how good the other ones are than the fact that we have bad ones in there. It's just that, like, I don't know if there's cards in the game that I'm taking over all webbed up, and Web of the Spider-Verse obviously being my leadership, and then Brace is probably coming every game. So that's already kind of putting us down to 2 slots remaining to pick from 7 cards, so it kind of gets a little tight there, but I think I'm okay with it. And then lastly, we go to our crises, where we have Fear Grips the World as Worthy Terrorize Civilians, Unexpected Guests Crash Royal Wedding, and Struggle for the Cube as our extract scenarios. And then for our secures, we have Infinity Formula, Superpowered Scoundrels, and Mcron Crystal Gets Heroes Home. Yeah, here we have tons of options. We talked about that during the selection process. You have so many options here with Crises to make so many different kind of types of lists here. And this is one of the things that I love about Web Warriors right now is they have so many options. They're probably, in my opinion, the most fun faction to play right now because they can play so many different play styles, and I've been really enjoying them. And that's why I'm really excited about this list. This is pretty similar to the list I've been running at locals, probably swap out a couple pieces here and there, but I'm definitely a big fan of what they're capable of doing right now. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this list down below. I'm very curious to hear what you guys are thinking. What have you guys been doing with the Web Warriors? How have you guys been running them with the new models released, or seeing your locals run them or anything like that? Very curious to hear what people have been doing with these characters because I'm super stoked about them. I think they're my favorite faction in the game right now. So really excited to kind of see what everyone else has been doing with them. But that is going to do it for my thoughts and this roster. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please do drop a like down below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. We do battle reports every week and a handful of additional content on both MCP and other games. So if you're a fan of any of that sort of thing, feel free to jump on in. But that's going to do it for this one. So until next time, have a great day, everybody. Peace.